The year is now 2009. The Call of Duty franchise had just announced itself with two smash hits, Modern Warfare and World at War. But now it was time to follow up on COD 4 and release the first sequel. Where would the story go after the cliffhanger ending? How would the multiplayer improve on what was already revolutionary? And would the game introduce a third mode like World at War? Well, prepare to hit a 360 no-scope, become MLG, and grab some popcorn, as I look at what made Modern Warfare 2 a cultural icon. I usually start by talking about the campaign, but with Modern Warfare 2, its legendary status has to begin with its beloved multiplayer. After all, it's the multiplayer that we still remember fondly. It still appears on the internet to this day, and virtually everyone from the generation looks back nostalgically at a simpler time. Let's start with the weapons. Gone are the days of one overpowered gun. Infinity Ward's screw it. Let's just make everything broken. The ACR, the FAMAS, the UMP, One Man Army, the dual-wield models. Infinity Ward really took the approach of that if everything is overpowered, then nothing is overpowered, as everything balances to a really strong level. The chaos behind the scenes meant that none of the weapons bar the models were patched, meaning even now in 2024, the list of overpowered things in Modern Warfare 2 never shrunk. This worked better than expected, as it gave this game this insanely fun feel of zero balance that wasn't really seen in the genre before, but it surprisingly worked with Call of Duty's casual nature. But is all this just rose-tinted glasses? Well, yes and no. The approach definitely made the game more fun, and a bit more of a sandbox for all sorts of weapons to be used. But certain weapons were left behind, and they do feel really bad compared to the best. This hit or miss weapon balance means less of a selection overall. Class selection though is a huge step up from the previous two games. Modern Warfare 2 comes with a wide variety of choice in its classes, and it really made every choice of a purpose, as you could only take one or two attachments. Most of the perks are very good at creating an even tougher choice, and the ability to upgrade them using pro perks with a challenge only made the choice harder once you had the best version. Customization would also make a big splash in Modern Warfare 2. It was simple compared to what we know now, but calling cards, emblems and clan tags all went that extra way to make you stand out in the lobby, whilst your weapon camo would show everyone that you had mastered a particular weapon. Speaking of customization, and we finally reached the time where kill streaks could be customised. Gone were the 3-5-7 streaks, and instead a choice of 15. Powerful kill streaks that would chain together to cause chaos in Modern Warfare 2. Popular choices were the Harrier, the Pavlo, Chopper Gunner, and the AC-130, all coming with devastating power that hasn't been seen in the 15 years since Modern Warfare 2. But the one you're probably waiting for me to talk about is the best of the lot, one that every player dreamed of getting once upon a time, one that would take a 25 kill streak, one that could end the game, the Tactical Nuke. By chaining up kills with the other streaks, players could earn this final streak which would end the game instantly. It goes down in infamy as one of the most memorable things to grind for in a game. Before the days of getting that dopamine rush from getting a battle royale win, getting a nuke in Modern Warfare 2 was the thing that would give you the bragging rights between you, the lobby and your friend group. What made the kill streaks and multiplayer in general feel even more cool were the downright incredible voice lines from the faction leaders. Either when starting a game,
Rangers lead the way.
Winning a game,
Your work is appreciated. Well done.
or calling in that devastating AC-130. The announcers in Modern Warfare 2 added that extra bit of oomph to every match, and is something that shows the detail Infinity Ward will go to in 2009. But in my opinion, the crowning achievement of Modern Warfare 2, the thing that gave it the legacy it has, the thing that allowed all this other stuff to be possible, the map design. I mean, dare I say it's perfect? I truly believe this is in the top 3 map selections in the series, if not number 1. High Rise, Favela, Rust, Scrapyard, Terminal, Afghan are all legendary, whilst the State, Quarry, Subbase and Skid Row are all iconic in their own right. And that's just 10 of them. There are still 6 others: Invasion, Karachi, Rundown, Wasteland, Underpass and D-Row, which are all good as well, with the exception of maybe the last couple. They aren't just iconic, the gameplay that they create is what Call of Duty is. You have your classic 1v1 map in Rust, the best map for that style in the series. Your 3-lane maps like Scrapyard, which flows perfectly with its symmetry, and Favela, which is extremely different with its vertical gameplay and rooftops. Medium-sized maps like Afghan and Terminal have both long sightlines for snipers and close quarters areas for SMGs. Even large maps like Wasteland and Estate can be fun under the right conditions. All have that bright pop to them that Modern Warfare 2 had. It was a vibrant game, and the maps just had the right colour palette to go along with it. To get 16 maps in a game is a rare sight today, but to have about 95% of them to be good to the greatest of all time contenders, and well, you know you've cooked up something special. The Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer gets an 88 out of 100 score for me. What do I mean by the phrase cultural icon? Well, just take a look for yourself.
Get ready for the next round.
Riot shield. What else am I? Oh, riot shield. I'm a pussy that use riot shield.
You can ask any gamer in their 20s and 30s about Modern Warfare 2, and the memories will pour out. There were so many different communities to be a part of, and so many different things to do. Maybe you were someone who tried to get number 1 on the leaderboards. Or maybe you tried to go pro. Maybe you were a part of the growing sniper scene, and dreamed of joining a team like FaZe. Maybe you liked the MLG culture. Maybe you just played casually with your friends after school. Maybe you abused one-man army at the back of the map. Maybe you enjoyed trash talking people in the lobby throughout the match. My point is, it doesn't matter who you are, there was something that Modern Warfare 2 could provide for you, and it seemed everyone in 2009 and early 2010 was a part of the community. YouTube was growing, so even if you couldn't play, you could watch videos and still feel a part of it. FaZe Clan were growing rapidly, and gameplay YouTubers like Chris Smooth became part of your daily routine, as people watched them before hopping on the game themselves. Modern Warfare 2, love it or hate it, was and still is a cultural icon, and is the reason why it appears so prominently in our memories and media to this day. After the end of Call of Duty 4, Al-Assad and both Zakhaevs had been taken out by Gaz, Soap and Price. But the ending left us with some unanswered questions. Did Soap and Price actually make it out? And who would inevitably fill the void left behind by Zakhaev? We begin 5 years after the events of the first game, where a new threat has risen in the east. Vladimir Makarov is now the leader of the ultra-nationalists, and uses new tactics in order to assert power. We see this early on, as we're tasked with earning his trust as Private Joseph Allen. In a controversial mission, you assist Makarov in attacking an airport, with hundreds of innocent people ruthlessly executed by Makarov's orders, portraying him as a cold-blooded and emotionless man. Unfortunately for us, he also happens to be a smart man, as he quickly turns the gun on us and manages to frame the attack in Russia as one done by the West, thus starting a war. As this is happening, a new soldier makes his way up the ranks, Gary Sanderson, or as we know him, Roach. We meet Captain McTavish, who's been promoted after the events of Quad 4. It's there where we find we must track down Rojas to get a lead on Makarov. In an intense urban mission, we fight through the Brazilian favelas. It's an uphill battle, and the gameplay is vertical, making this mission extremely tough at parts. But eventually our boy Soap unleashes his inner Adam Copeland and spears Rojas. On home soil, the war has broken out, as Sergeant Foley and his squad defend the US towns. We play as Ramirez as we help secure Burgertown and the US suburbs. But things quickly take a turn for the worse. Back with Task Force 141, and our next task is to break out a mysterious man named Prisoner 627. Assuming this could be dangerous, we storm the gulag ready for anything that could be around the corner. The place is filled with enemies, but in the end, they're no match for Task Force 141. But when we get to the cell, the assumed target is hostile. But when we get hit to the ground, we realise that 627 isn't Makarov, but instead Captain Price, who had somehow made it out alive. Soap and Price are reunited, and Task Force 141 is complete. Headed by General Shepard, the main task force consists of Price, Soap, Ghost, who's new up to this point, and Roach. It's become the COD formula at this point to split the stories into two perspectives, and Modern Warfare 2 does the same, with the US Rangers led by Foley completing missions on home soil, whilst Task Force 141 track down leads on Makarov. Shortly after breaking Price out, he joins us on a mission at a naval base in Russia. He claims to have a plan to stop the war, so the rest of 141 follows along. But as he enters the submarine, something is wrong. The silo doors are open, and soon, this happens.
Wait, Price, no! We have a nuclear missile launch! Missile in the air! Missile in the air! Code black! Code black!
Price detonates a missile in the atmosphere, acting as an EMP across the world, and destroying the International Space Station. But it manages to give the Rangers the final boost they need in order to reclaim the White House. In a mission that could easily end most games, we must get to the top and signal that it's been reclaimed. Fighting through this US landmark is as epic as it is sad. But finally, in a dramatic end, we reach the top and show the green flares, signalling to the Jets that the US have defended home soil and reclaimed their most important building. But the story isn't over for 141. Shepard has intel on an estate that Makarov has been known to occupy. Roach and Ghost are sent to hunt the estate and find any more leads, while Soap and Price head to the boneyard. As Roach, we fight into the estate and eventually make it in. It's a gold mine, and we find plenty of data on Makarov that should help us put him to an end. But as we escape, and we reach the shopper, Shepard asks us if we have the DSM. We've got it, sir. But Shepard does this.
That's one less loose end.
No!
One less loose end, and a betrayal that no one saw coming in 2009. Half of 141 had been taken out by Shepard, and as far as Price was concerned, he was now enemy number one. Soap and Price disavow from 141, and chase down the backstabbing Shepard. Makarov reveals to us where Shepard is hiding, and as Makarov runs into the shadows, we get the most action-packed mission in the franchise. Endgame. We chase Shepard on a boat, and finally confront him. He reveals why he did this. His desire to become a hero after losing 50,000 men in the blink of an eye. Shepard gets the better of both Price and Soap, stabbing the latter. As he's about to finish the job on Price, Soap pulls out the knife and throws it towards the sly bastard as the game fades and the credits finally roll. Once again, we're left with a lot of unanswered questions, and one man is still out there. Modern Warfare 2 was a completely different ride to the previous Call of Duty games. It was the first game that felt like an action movie, and whilst that trope has become overused in Call of Duty nowadays, as this was the first of its kind, it felt special. And the action felt warranted, given the chaos going on in the world. The story subverted expectations, and the tensions were high throughout. A story of betrayal and revenge is always sweet, but in this case, you know that the stakes were only going to rise going into the third game. Overall, I'd give the Modern Warfare 2 campaign an 83 out of 100 score. In order to keep at the same level as content as the year prior, Infinity Ward needed some sort of third mode to keep players happy. With zombies not really fitting the style of Modern Warfare, Infinity Ward instead opted for a new idea, and they would call it Spec Ops. An extension of the campaign, Spec Ops was an arcade-focused mode, taking new areas from campaign missions and turning them into shorter challenges that could be done with friends. In each level, in which there were 23 by the way, 3 stars could be earned depending on speed or difficulty. It's a real challenge to complete all the missions, and it certainly adds a new avenue in which players could play Modern Warfare 2. The 23 missions range from simple stuff like fighting off waves of enemies, completing timed objectives, or even racing in a snowmobile. The new locations added to the world that the campaign had built, and each mission felt different, as there was always new scenarios introduced. It may not be as good or have the same long-lasting legacy as a mode like Zombies. Spec Ops though was the cherry on top, and it's an underrated part of Call of Duty's history, and overall I'd give it a 65 out of 100 score. From start to finish, Modern Warfare 2 is an action movie that never slows down. Considering we'd come to expect a more serious campaign and slower multiplayer from the games prior, Modern Warfare 2 must have been a massive shock when players first picked up the controller and gave it a go. Its legacy still lives on, with all of its maps remastered in the most recent Call of Duty game, and still people look back on the memories they had playing Modern Warfare 2 into the early hours in the morning in 2009. As an overall Call of Duty game, I rate Modern Warfare 2 an 84 out of 100 score. Now listen, I know a lot of people has this game as their best Call of Duty game, and I'm not going to argue against that. The campaign just had a little bit of a lack of mission variety, and Spec Ops wasn't quite at the level of Zombies, but the multiplayer really shines through to create an overall package that is an absolute blast to play. Check out the rest of the COD retrospective series if you haven't already, the link will be in the description, and let me know in the comments your favourite memory for Modern Warfare 2. And just remember,
history is written by the victor.